And now, your forecast first from the CBS 17 Storm Team.
Well, it has been a rainy and stormy night across central North Carolina. Rain showers starting to taper off in and north of the Triangle. But as you head into portions of the Sandhills and southern coastal plains, still dealing with thunderstorms through Cumberland County, as well as Hope County. Flash flood warning still up for Moore County, as well as Johnston, Sampson, and Wayne counties as well, where rainfall amounts have exceeded about 7 inches, and that's just since noon today. We'll start off with clouds tomorrow. Temperatures will be into the 60s. We'll make it into the 80s by lunchtime. We're heading to the middle 80s again tomorrow with more showers and storms. I'll detail that with the exclusive 10-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Now, breaking news from CBS 17 News.
Breaking news tonight as protesters bring down 2 statues on the Confederate monument at the state capitol.
CBS 17's Amani Payne has been downtown all night. Amani.
Yeah, a very emotionally charged night out here in downtown Raleigh. I want to show you we've still got quite the police presence here downtown. This comes after a group of protesters actually physically pushed a squad car off of the street while they were protesting here. But I want to cut to some video and show you how this all got started. This started at the Capitol. Things were peaceful enough during the day. That was certainly not the case as we inch closer towards evening. That's when a group of protesters actually tried to pull down 2 Confederate statues from the monument there on Capitol grounds. They weren't successful the first time. That's when law enforcement came out and created a barrier around that area. But they soon left, and the protesters attempted again, and they were successful. They brought down 2 Confederate statues there on Capitol grounds. From there, they took those statues, they wrapped a rope around the neck and dragged it down the street to Hargett, and they hung those 2 Confederate statues from a street light there. From there, they took a statue down and drug it even further down here to the courthouse off of Fayetteville, and they laid it on the steps of the courthouse. Now, of course, all of this is going on. Law enforcement did come out, try to respond. A few officers with Raleigh PD came down here to the courthouse, and the protesters were not happy about that. They cornered one of those Raleigh PD squad cars, and we got video of them actually physically pushing that squad car off of the street. At one point, we saw protesters come around the backside, and it looked like they were trying to corner them in, but eventually they let them off of the street. And that led to the police presence we're seeing out here now. Some reinforcements were called in. So you can see they've got some extra officers out here now following that incident. But again, just a very emotionally charged night. It did start to rain down here. That thinned the crowds a little bit, but not for long. Leading up to the scene we saw at the courthouse. But right now things have calmed down a little bit, but you can see there's still a police presence here just monitoring the situation, as we do still have a few protesters out here right now. But we're going to keep monitoring it as well. We're going to send it back to you in the studio now.
Amani, thank you. A scary scene out there earlier. Our Bridget Chapman is also live downtown tonight. And Bridget, what are you seeing and what have you seen?
Yeah, we're here at the monument on the Capitol grounds where this all began, and there is a lot of spray paint and signs. But first, just in case people aren't familiar, I want to give you an idea of exactly what went on here. So this monument here, it stands 75 feet tall according to UNC records, and there is a statue at the very top. But then if we can go down here, there are 2 Confederate statues, or now were 2 Confederate statues on each side. Now, those were what got pulled down. One represented the Confederate infantry, the other Confederate cavalrymen. So I just wanted to give you an idea of that's what was pulled down. And now let's take a look at what this looks like right now. So there is a lot of spray paint out here. I apologize if there's any obscenities written, but they are anti-police. You can see this sign right here, abolish the police. Above it, there is a defund the police. We also see a lot of Black Lives Matter, also some writing in support of Black Lives Matter. And this is kind of all over the base of this monument. But if we can pull up that video again of when this came down, just so I can give you a timeline here. This all started around 7:30. Several people tried to pull down the smaller statues using ropes, but officers intervened. By 8 o'clock, the crowd was still here. More officers came, and police were trying to take down the ropes that those protesters had put up. And then just after 9 o'clock, protesters again climbed the statues, put the straps around them, and pulled them down. And they were taken down within a few minutes of each other. Again, a lot of spray paint and signs here left behind. We have seen some people come out here. One woman we were speaking to just a few minutes ago, she said she just had to come see this for herself. She wasn't out here with the protesters, but she said it was just such an amazing sight. She wanted to see it for her own eyes because she just couldn't believe it. So we're going to keep monitoring this as well. For now, live in Raleigh, Bridget Chapman, CBS 17 News.
Bridget, thank you. More breaking news. A shooting reported in Raleigh near Avent Ferry Road. We have a crew on the scene. This is a live look. Now, this is near the NC State campus. You can see the emergency vehicles there. We're working to find out exactly what happened, and we'll have updates in the CBS 17 News app.
Raleigh police posted this cell phone video on their Facebook page. In it, you can see police pulling a protester on the ground while another person hangs on. According to the police chief, the officers were directing traffic near McDowell and Hillsborough streets. They say some protesters changed course and moved into an intersection, and the officers tried to move people from the street. That's when the confrontation escalated. Today, the police chief watched the video from officers' body cams.
Based on my initial review of the body camera footage, I am concerned by the actions of some of our officers. And based on that, I have asked also for the Internal Affairs Unit to conduct a full investigation on this matter.
The chief did not clarify how many officers are under investigation or if they're still working their normal schedules. She did file a petition with the court to get the body camera video released to the public.
New tonight, there's a warrant out for a man after this altercation. It happened in Pittsburgh on Thursday when Confederate supporters and counter-protesters squared off in what started as a peaceful rally. But that all changed when the supporters marched through the counter-protesters.
Kerwin Pittman, who was on the scene, told me that tensions began to rise as the two groups got too close. That's when a man with a Confederate flag attached to a hockey stick began swinging that stick at the counter-protesters.
My reaction was to initially get out of the way so I wouldn't get struck by the hockey stick or one of the poles, but also to try to calm it down and possibly get them, the Confederate supporters, to stop striking the counter-protesters.
Police investigated the incident and have issued a warrant for the arrest of Tommy Parnell, one of the Confederate supporters. He is charged with assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury, assaulting a female, as well as inciting a riot. Pittman, who was participating as a counter-protester, says he was surprised by the arrest warrant, but says the violence by this one man will not stop their movement.
There will be conflict and there will be times that incidents like this will arise. But like I tell anybody, do not get discouraged. We will continue to push. We will continue to push for change. We will continue to push for justice.
Now, within the last half hour, we reached out to Chatham County Jail, and they told us that Tommy Parnell is not and has not been in their custody.
In Sanford today, people stood outside City Hall with their arms in the air for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That's how long George Floyd was pinned down before dying. This event was organized by a local activist that also works for the city. The group wants justice for Floyd. Everything at the Sanford rally was peaceful, as you can see. Organizers told demonstrators not to talk to media, saying they wanted to focus on the reason for this protest.
Demands continue from protesters in Durham to defund the police. One group has been camping outside the police headquarters all week. Tonight, hundreds more gathered for a rally. Protesters even started painting the word defund on Main Street. Councilman Mark Anthony Middleton put out his own defund the police proposal that suggests police alternatives. He wants to look at sending mental health responders instead of armed officers to some calls. He's also asking the city to put $2.5 million towards creating a universal basic income, something he hopes will cut down on crime.
How can we achieve that goal of weaning ourselves off of a very large police budget, but still keep fidelity to the service delivery that we have to do to run a great American city, which people depend upon every day. And I believe there's a responsible, effective way that we can do that, and that's what my proposal was about.
Middleton's proposal does not take any physical money out of the police department's budget, but he says that would be the goal further down the line. And protesters say until the city says they're going to take money out of the police department's budget, they plan to protest in front of police headquarters.
It's the first night the face mask requirement is in effect in Raleigh. This is video from tonight at Glenwood South, one of the busier areas in Raleigh. Council members said the crowds here last weekend was one of the many reasons they felt a mask requirement was necessary. The mandate requires face coverings be worn while on sidewalks, parking lots, and inside businesses. They're not required outdoors if you can maintain a social distance of at least 6 feet.
I think it's to keep everybody safe, myself as well as others around me.
And what have you noticed so far being out and about with people wearing them?
Hit and miss. You know, you see some people walking along the streets, they may not have them on.
The city of Raleigh is enforcing the mask ordinance by education rather than citations. Independence Day celebrations in North Carolina could still go on despite limits on the mass gatherings. A bill the state Senate passed today would allow local communities and groups to hold parades and fireworks shows. If the bill is passed, Governor Cooper could not stop the events from happening. Democrats who voted against the bill raised concerns about the ongoing spread of COVID-19. They also pointed out this could lead to lawsuits.
Protesting peacefully is apple pie as anything in America. It's a First Amendment right, but we also shouldn't discourage people from celebrating what's right about America.
The metrics are not improving. We are at record hospitalizations. You know, the amount of people with COVID-19 is going up as a state.
Parades and firework displays could happen between the 1st and 10th of July. The bill now goes to the House for a vote.
We're going to see another day of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, and then rain chances drop off. That means temperatures go up. I'll let you know how warm we'll get for the first days of summer after the break.
Okay, shorter. Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, we're 90 out.
Tonight, protesters brought down 2 statues of Confederate soldiers at a monument at the state capitol. CBS 17's Imani Payne has been down at downtown all night. Imani, what's happening there now?
Yeah, well, we're here on Fayetteville Street, and as you can see, we've still got a police presence here, a couple officers monitoring the situation after the earlier peaceful protest turned to anything but. And I want to show you why. Let's go ahead and cut to some video. At one point on this street, Protesters were occupying this area in front of the courthouse, and an officer tried to respond to this scene, and they forced that officer off of the street. They kind of swarmed the squad car and forced him off of the block. Now, all of this got started a little bit earlier this evening at the Capitol, where protesters pulled down, they wrapped a rope around the neck of 2 Confederate statues there at the monument and pulled them down by their necks. They then dragged them around downtown and put them at the feet of the courthouse there. So definitely an emotionally charged night. That's why we're seeing this police presence out here right now. The rain has kind of thinned things out a bit. Things have certainly calmed down a little bit. But again, we see the police officers here still monitoring the situation. We don't know what happened with those statues. Some protesters took them away. We don't know where they went yet. But again, we're also monitoring the situation, and we'll bring you any updates as they become available. For now, we're live downtown. Imani Payne, CBS 17 News.
I think that the professor gets to know you better, and so then just like your whole experience in the class is a lot better.
Students are ready to go back to school, and new tonight, we're getting a sneak peek at what NC State's campus will look like this fall.
CBS 17's Bridget Chapman getting answers about how the university plans to keep everyone safe while still providing the campus experience.
Classrooms are ready for students to return to NC State this fall with a different look than years past.
The difference will be people are used to contact. You know, people give hugs or handshakes, and all that stuff has been set aside.
Faculty showed us how they're adapting with the pandemic, starting with classrooms. Students will be spaced apart with a traffic flow to follow. Teachers will have protective barriers in front.
We're going to try to get as many face-to-face experiences for students as we can with each other and their faculty. And so that's the challenge.
The goal is to have online and in-person learning at a 50-50 ratio for students. Depending on their major, it could be less or more.
Trying to make that math work for everybody and not leave anybody out of that rich experience of being here on campus.
Masks will be required everywhere on campus, except for outdoors when it's possible to physical distance. Sanitizer stations will be across campus and on the Wolf Line. There, they'll also require masks and social distancing.
Obviously, Wolf Line is one of the longest standing traditions here at NC State. Students use it to get all over campus.
The bus will run with fewer riders and routes, with more buses per route.
Wolf Line has taken additional sanitary measures to disinfect all buses.
NC State will provide more travel options like scooters and bikes.
We have a challenge, but we think we're up to that challenge. Our NC State says think and do the extraordinary.
Saying they're ready to do just that this fall. Reporting in Raleigh, Bridget Chapman, CBS 17 News.
Bridget, thank you. New tonight, CBS 17 confirmed the NC State Board of Trustees meeting Monday to consider a naming matter. Now, tonight we don't know which buildings or locations the board will discuss, but Daniels Hall is named after Josephus Daniels. In 1894, he became the editor and publisher of the Raleigh News and Observer. He was also a well-known white supremacist. Earlier this week, the Daniels family removed his statue from Nash Square, saying it was the right time to remove the statue from public property. New at 11, a North Carolina teen has a warning for anyone headed to the beach this weekend. He was bitten by a shark. It happened at the beach, which is near Cape Hatteras. Nick Arthur says he was in the water Tuesday with his sister when the shark just latched onto his leg.
The pressure was so intense, and I was like, this is obviously not, like, this is an animal of some sort. And I didn't know what it was. And so I tried lifting my leg up out of the water, and I saw, oh my God, it's a 5-foot-long shark attached to my leg.
Unbelievable. Nick and his dad used their hands to try and pry the shark's mouth open and free his leg. Nick's dad says it wasn't until he hit the shark's nose that it finally swam off.
CBS 17 was there as a swiftwater rescue team pulled a woman from the Neuse River today. The Raleigh Fire Department says the man and woman were kayaking when they hit fast water and a lot of debris. They got in trouble and flipped their kayaks. The man was able to make it to shore, but the woman got stuck. The Swiftwater Rescue Team says because of all the rain this week, the river is up and moving faster than usual, and that brings up a lot of debris in the water.
And there's been a lot of rain for us today, as well as just compounding problems across central North Carolina. A lot of flooding happening this evening, especially south of the Triangle. We are drying out north of the Triangle. We've seen flooding problems along the Tar River, especially in the Rocky Mountain. That will move downstream to Tarboro as we head through the weekend. But there are a couple of flash flood warnings now in effect for southern portions of Johnston County, also parts of Wayne and Sampson counties. This goes until 1:45. We also have another flash flood warning for portions of Cumberland, Harnett, Hoke, and Moore counties. That goes until 2 a.m. Rain is starting to slack off just a bit, but some spots in these locations have picked up in excess of 7 inches of rain today, and it's causing a lot of flooding problems. A lot of roads are closed and a lot of water rescues happening across southern portions of central North Carolina. Moore County also under a flash flood warning until 2 o'clock, which includes Carthage, as well as down towards Pinehurst and over towards Seven Lakes. Aberdeen is part of a second flash flood warning that includes Cumberland County as well as all of Hoke County and portions of Lee County. That goes again until 2 a.m. So a lot of heavy rain falling, especially across southern parts of the area this evening. Thunderstorms are starting to taper off as they drift southward out of central North Carolina, closer towards the state line with South Carolina. But again, plenty of rain falling out there for us this evening. So do be very careful if you have to head out this evening or especially tomorrow morning. Don't cross any flooded roadways that are out there because you won't be able to tell exactly how deep the water is. And it doesn't take a lot of moving water to be able to move your vehicle. So just turn around and find an alternate route. The good news is these showers will be tapering off, but the bad news is, again, we've seen plenty of rainfall. This is since midnight. Rainfall amounts close to an inch in and north of the Triangle, over an inch for many spots south of the Triangle. Fayetteville pushing in on 2 inches of rain today. Some spots in the portions of Sampson County, over 7 inches of rain have fallen since midnight. So again, a lot of rain out there for us. And unfortunately, we're going to see almost a repeat in terms of coverage of rain tomorrow. So those showers and storms will taper off as we continue further into the overnight. We should start off fairly dry on your Saturday, and then as we head through the day, we will again see scattered showers and thunderstorms develop across central North Carolina. Not expecting much in the way of severe weather tomorrow, but again, any rain shower storm that fires could produce some heavy rain very quickly, and that will only exacerbate flooding problems across the area. We'll taper those showers off after sunset. We start Father's Day off dry, and then less coverage in terms of rainfall as we head through the day on Sunday. Sunday is the better day of the next two, but again, watching those rainfall amounts as we head through the next couple of days. If you get underneath the heavy thunderstorm tomorrow, we could easily again see another 1/2 to 1 inch, perhaps up to 2 inches of rain again in some spots. So again, a lot of flooding problems, and we're not really going to make that any better until we get towards next week. Here's what it looked like today. We saw clouds this morning. We thickened them up this afternoon, and then we saw the rain showers arriving as we went through the evening hours. As we look over Carter Finley Stadium, there comes that downpour. And again, we saw rain also as we went into the evening hours as well. Through the day tomorrow, again, rain chances will increase as we head through the afternoon. We'll make it very similar to where we were today. Officially today, 86 degrees or high temperature. I think we'll be close to that for the first day of summer at 85. 88 degrees for us as we head through Father's Day. Then we're in the 90s for most of next week. We'll keep the humidity up with lows in the 70s, which means isolated scattered showers and thunderstorms each afternoon. Right now, it doesn't look like any washouts, but again, we don't need any more rain across a good portion of central North Carolina, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that. Chris?
Yeah, I need a dry day to cut some grass, man. It's like this tall in my front yard right now. In sports, COVID-19 has hit the PGA, the NHL, and MLB. It's also hit one ACC school particularly hard. I'll tell you about the details next in sports.
This is the CBS 17 Sports Desk, brought to you by Riccobeni Associates Family Dentistry.
Clemson Athletic announced today that they have conducted 315 COVID-19 tests this month. 28 came back positive for the coronavirus. 23 of the tests coming from football players. Now, football and basketball players were allowed back on campus June 1st. The university said in a statement that it's notified and isolated each of the individuals who tested positive. Those known to have close contact with them have also been asked to quarantine for at least 14 days. The athletic department said most of the total cases have been asymptomatic. And the NHL is in phase 2 of reopening, and already one squad has had to shut down their training facility. The Tampa Bay Lightning had 3 players and additional staff members test positive for coronavirus. Players were isolated. The team sent everyone home, closed the facility. Tampa Bay issued a statement saying that they're following procedures to ensure the health and safety of all involved. The Lightning and NHL will now have to figure out how to proceed based on the positive tests. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies closing their spring training facility in Clearwater, Florida, after 5 players and 3 staff members tested positive. The Phillies facility will remain closed until medical authorities are confident that the virus is under control. Blue Jays are also closing their facility just up the road in Dunedin after a player tested positive there as well. And yes, COVID-19 has also hit the PGA Tour. Nick Watney was withdrawn from the RBC Heritage in Hilton Head, South Carolina after testing positive for the virus. Watney said he had symptoms consistent with the illness prior to arriving at the tournament today, and after consulting with the physician, was administered a test. That test came back positive. Watney immediately withdrew from the tournament. We spoke with his playing partner, Vaughn Taylor.
I was a little shocked, to be honest. Heart started racing, got a little nervous. So, just hope Nick's doing well and, we get through this.
Do you have any plans to be retested?
Yes, I'm going to get tested now.
Meanwhile, round 2 of the RBC Heritage from Harbortown and Hilton Head. Great shot at Calabogie Sound there on 16. That's Brooks Koepka making another nice birdie. Goes around a little bit, but goes down. Moves him to 10 under par. On 11, it's Rory McIlroy's turn. Scopes it up and burns down the birdie putt. That moves him to 3 under par. But on 9, it's Webb Simpson's kind of day. Nice approach shot to within about 4 feet. Makes the birdie putt. Finishes in the lead at 12 under par. And the NCAA has expanded its Confederate flag policy to prohibit all its championship events from being held in the states where that flag is flown. Mississippi is the only state affected. Come on now. Got to get on board with this thing. Just do the right thing. Be on the right side of history. That's it for sports. Be back with more news right after this.
following breaking news tonight as protesters take down a pair of Confederate monuments at the state capitol. This happening just before 9. You saw it there. We saw several people climb up to the monument and pull down those Confederate statues. They actually used some sort of rope that you're seeing right there. It took just about 5 minutes to bring them to the ground once they were able to get that rope around them.
And then the mob took off for Hargett and Salisbury Street, where they strung up the statues from street lights. Remember, this was part of demonstrations in response to the death of George Floyd.
Right, so then the rain moved in, so a few of the marchers actually went home. Some got in their cars, they started honking their horns, others stayed under the awning. Eventually, Capitol Police did take away the statue in front of the courthouse. Again, this started as peaceful protesting, celebrating Juneteenth, and then as the night went on, it turned into something a little different. I don't think they were anticipating.
Rain showers still falling across a good portion of central North Carolina this evening. We have several flash flood warnings still in effect south of the Triangle, which does include Fayetteville until 2 a.m. So do be very careful if you do have to head out this evening or early tomorrow morning, especially before sunrise. If you find any water on the roadways, turn around and find an alternate route. There have been several water rescues across southern portions of central North Carolina this evening. Rainfall amounts between about 2 and 4 inches widespread across our flash flood warning areas, with some amounts, especially in the Sampson County, upwards of 7 inches of rain. And that's just today. We'll make it 85 tomorrow, see a repeat of showers and storms. 88 for Father's Day. We'll drop off the rain chances, and then we're fully into summer with temperatures in the 90s as we head through most of the upcoming week. Lows in the 70s, which means hot and humid with afternoon thunderstorms each day.
We're going to be wishing for rain when it's 90 degrees outside.
Aren't we? Hey, happy Father's Day to both of you guys.
Thank you so much.
I won't see you over the
Nice
weekend.
of you.
Great dudes here. You guys have a great weekend.
Thanks for watching.